Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 274, and it's the first episode of 2025, the new year. Today we're going to be talking about like setting intentions for the new year and maybe slowing down, maybe not, depending on what our intentions are. And this is like a typical topic that we have at the beginning of each year, just to kind of ground us and put us back in motion with the podcasting. But before we get started on the topic, let me know cómo están, chulas. Let me check in aquí con mis co-hosts. ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo les está yendo este nuevo año? We are recording on January the 4th, so we're still very early on in the month and the year. So, ¿cómo están, chulas?
Good. I already cried today. I already felt sad that my kid's going to school tomorrow, back to college, but it's been great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back with you ladies, seeing your faces. There's a lot of changes that have happened in the last couple of months for all of us, I believe. And I'm excited to kind of be back here, share that with you, share that with our audience, and kick off this new year con ganas. And, it's still the winter, so we're kind of waking up, but, showing up.
Definitely. Yes, yo también. I've had already a busy day / morning. So we're recording on a Saturday today. Got up early. I went for a walk / mini jog con el Portos. And me bañé. One of our girls had a very early, well, not early, 10 a.m. orthodontist appointment. So got that taken care of, came back. Knew we were going to start recording, and está medio frillito, so I wanted a drink. I had already had coffee, so me hice una canelita. So having my little canelita aquí, something warm to kick off this new year with our podcasting. So this morning, as we were, contemplating which topics to discuss, I definitely wanted to get started on the intentions. What intentions do we have for this new year? And something that we talk about each year is that sometimes perhaps in January is not the proper time for some of us to get started on goals. You're still kind of slowing down. You're still in that like holiday post Rosca de Reyes mode. For some of us, I'm speaking for myself right now, pero yeah, so I think that kind of got me to thinking. And sometimes we want to get started maybe till February, maybe till March. And, we've had this discussion sometimes that we sometimes don't necessarily want to rush into things and rush into goals. And just yesterday, I saw this post on Instagram, and Vero saw it too, that says, I'm going to read it. This is a reminder that our ancestors didn't set New Year's resolutions in the dead of winter. We are part of the natural world and are meant to honor and flow with the seasons. May you unlearn, remember, and allow yourself to slow down, go inward, and rest. And this was posted by Doctora Rocio Rosales Mesa. I don't know much about her. I don't know if you don't know, but basically was supposed to, just take a seat back. Like perhaps the whole New Year resolution and goals was intended it's as a big like marketing scheme, to hacernos gastar el dinero. But maybe we should listen to our bodies and kind of slow down and snuggle up, read a book, take it more slow. So Vero, do you have any thoughts about this, or do you know more about this doctora and what she's all about?
I believe she talks a lot about the decolonization of our people. I believe that's what she does. She's like just focuses on, intentionally the decolonization of our people and how being colonized really affected the way we lived intentionally within the earth and how we just automatically flowed. I don't know much about her, but I feel that that's her main core thing that she discusses, and how to get, through like kind of work through that process of the decolonization of our mind, soul.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I feel that, well, just having finished the whole, holiday season, que fiestas, comidas, que this, that. Like I want to just like kind of slow down, take it easy. If I want to get up and go for like a quick jog, cool. Si no, all right, I'll do it maybe tomorrow. Just that's what I've been kind of feeling this week. And I'm just kind of taking it slow. And so I'm wanting to, work perhaps on my vision board this weekend and just have those intentions for the year. Sit down with Luis and sit down. Okay, what are those intentions? What do we want to do more of? What do we want to do less of? So, what about you, ladies? ¿Qué intenciones tienen para este año? What are those intentions that maybe you're already working on or you envision yourself working on this year? Could be, personal, career focus, de todo un poco.
Ceci, before we continue, I wanted to mention, how we're talking about, we don't know when the great marketing scheme of New Year's resolutions started, but I just Googled it because I'm like, I'm interested. I want to know. So I think that'd be good to share. So it actually goes back. New Year's resolutions date back to over 4,000 years to ancient Babylon. And it says, the Babylonian Akitu festival was celebrated in April. This festival marked the beginning of the calendar when crops started to grow. Babylonians would make promises to the gods, such as returning borrowed tools and paying off debts. And if they kept their promises, they believed good fortune would follow. So, obviously, our calendar is January to December, right? So, we don't follow the ancient calendars because of the sun and the things like that, right? But it makes sense that it would be in April, hence why we're waking up, right? We're waking up more like in the springtime. So yeah, it dates back to that, but we moved it back a couple months before we kind of like, we could do it earlier, We're over here over-promising, under-delivering and shit to ourselves.
Like, this is technically the first episode of our 4th season because we always would change the season at the beginning of the year. I'd forgotten that. So welcome to the 4th season of our podcast. And secondly, I liked that though. I was like, we should start naming our podcast like a quote of the show. I like that. Kept promises means good fortune will follow. So it doesn't have to necessarily be like a promise to yourself, but like to keep your word is a sign that good fortune is going to follow. But very cool. Thanks for that history lesson, Vero. It triggered my thinking on our history. And this is our freaking 4th season.
Felicidades.
Girl, this is a big deal. Felicidades. Our intention is to quit the podcast after the show. No, es cierto. Imagine. Big announcement. No, es cierto. Okay, so sorry about that tangent. I love what Vero said. I love what she shared. I'm going to put that on our vision board. In terms of new intentions for this year, my husband loves the new year. He loves setting goals in the new year. He loves lists. He loves plans. He loves this is his Super Bowl. So he planned a overnight retreat for us 3 weeks ago, and he got us a really nice hotel room and dinner reservations, and we planned goals together. Nothing too overwhelming. What do we want to do together? What do we want to do individually? Together, we're going to read a book about money because we both like Ramit Sethi. So he just wrote Money for Couples. So we're going to read that. I'm going to listen to it. He's going to read it, the actual book. And we're going to work out together. And we have the home gym, so it works. Somebody could be on the treadmill, the Peloton weights, whatever, watching Netflix, doing something. He likes to do the programs, of course, typical. That's my boo. He wants the program. So he'll do a Peloton program. If you're familiar, you got to do a certain kind of different number of workouts every week, and it's a program that tests you. He freaking loves stats and that, so that's his thing. I was straight up 5 times a week, maybe twice a day, maybe once every other day. It's 5 times a week. That's mine. So I'm doing 5 times a week. He's doing his program. He's a beast right now. He's working out twice a day because I'm telling you guys, he fucking loves the new year. So he's lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks because that's how men have it. So he's been on it. My son's gonna run more because he's really into running. So Noah also has a running goal. So we'll work out a lot more. My daughter's going to read and cook more. She's excited about those 2 things. I'm going to stick to my old trusty dates with 2 of the 3 that live under our roof. So that's easy. That's not a big goal, but I like the one-on-one dates and I like to really stick to it. I think that all of our relationships are better. So I have that on the board. I only know this because of his visual. He created a big old visual and he showed us last night. In our retreat, our weekend, we thought about marriage goals and getting away for each other and stuff like that. And then we brought in the kids over dinner. Thought about their goals. Our son that's in college, his is simple because he doesn't live here. He's an adult. He can do what he wants. But he said that once a week he wants to do things for his hobbies, which I think is cool. He felt he was kind of doing stuff for others, even though he's in a frat and he partied and stuff. He felt he didn't thrift a lot, and he likes to thrift. When in his life in Georgia, He talked about more working out. Like he finally got to like the gym like the last week of the quarter. Like they have an amazing facility, right? Like a lot of colleges. He joined like basketball intramurals. But that's also part of like his Greek life. So he really said that he wants to spend one time a week like away, like doing something that has to do with hobbies, anything like hiking, working out, thrifting. He's excited about. So he's doing that. And he'll check in with us. So that's kind of sweet. Like once a week he'll tell us. And I love how my husband's like, it could be anything. It could be like calling your mom once a week. He was like, his goal was not gonna be to call his mama once a week. Anyway, those are our intentions. It's a lot of health, personal wealth. Like, oh, I'm saving more than I've ever saved before. So I already started. I put like $1,000 away, and it's like the third of the freaking month. That was yesterday. So I have a huge savings goal. What was my husband's financial goal? He wants to increase his income. So that was his goal, to do more on his own side hustle. And so he's excited about increasing his finances. I want to increase my savings. I have like 0 debt. So, well, I already met that. That was something that like I was super pumped about. So like no credit card debt anymore, even though credit card debt isn't bad. So I'll probably have to put something somewhere to have like some good debt, stimulate my debt. But we want to stay on that path, like living debt free, living where you don't have to borrow to live your life. So we want to keep that path for this year. And I think that's all of them. And then church, obviously we want to have like a spiritual connection and making sure that we are diligent with church every week. I feel that always falls to me. So that's one of the ones that I voice to the family. I can't be the policer of church. I don't think it's cool to be the one that has to be like, okay guys, like every Sunday. So we're going to share church. My youngest really likes reading the Bible. He's super into reading the Bible. So he's a little better about like getting the family to remember it's Sunday. So my husband did a great job last weekend and got us to church. He led the troops. I think that's all of them. So those are our intentions. I didn't mean to sound like all snooty and snotty, like, oh, I have them all figured out. You guys are just started about like, take it slow, do you don't have to have some. I'm literally saying that I have some because I have someone here who loves this, makes us sit down every year, makes us write it down. That's his thing. I'm very consistent, so if I'm gonna be super honest, they're all gonna forget. Like in 8 weeks, I'm gonna be like, all right, here I am solita, and it's okay. Maybe they all forget. Maybe they get into it. Our history has been most people fire up the new year, get excited, think of all the stuff we're gonna do, and then we dwindle. My real goal, my real intention for this year is to see if our whole family, and I'm not gonna put pressure on them, I'm not gonna remind them, we have visuals. If we can all be consistent, then we're winning. Or we don't. Or we go back to what we started the show with. I mean, no, like maybe you don't. Maybe you got over it. Maybe you don't want to cook more. Maybe you don't want to read more. Maybe you don't want to work out 5 times a week. Maybe you don't want to save aggressively. But that's where we are. And the last thing I'll say is that last year I did this impromptu vision board night with 4 friends. 3 friends? 5 friends? 4 friends? 4. Vero, remember que te invité?
I remember.
And it was super sweet because this year, entre ellas, se invitaron. It was the sweetest thing. Oh, no, eran 5 que vinieron. Yeah, eran 5 que vinieron. Entre ellas. And it's like, we're doing it again. So I have this annual vision boarding thing with 3 friends I used to work with, one of my nieces, my sister-in-law, because that's the people that answered the back call that day. I was like, we should do a vision board night. And yeah, everybody and it was super last minute. Vero was like, let's just do it. We need it. Like one of us was feeling down. Well, 2 of them were super bonding about feeling down. So it got coordinated again. And I'm like, dude, that's going to be great. Like every year, if we can keep this going, at least for a little while, like we come together, we're going to talk about how we did last year, show our friggin' vision boards, and then plan for next year. And we cry. We talk about what didn't work out. We talk about what we're excited about. We talk about heartbreak. We talk about money. We talk about kids. We only done it once, but it was really good. It was really like intimate and sweet. And so we're gonna do that again. We're gonna do that tomorrow night. So I'm super excited to like have this little crew that likes to randomly get together now, apparently, to vision board. So those are the 2 things that I'm working on for goals this year.
Those are all really good intentions, and I know I mean, conociéndote, you're gonna crush them and you're gonna complete them, como dices. ¿Y tú, Vero? Yeah. Yeah.
As long as they include travel. No,
So you guys see, and if you don't, you always have next year.
yeah, for real.
I'm keeping mine really simple, just because I have to be very mindful that I'm in a transition point of my life. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of changes for me. A lot, as I don't think I shared much about it, but I did talk about how hard it is to like how the job market was, finding jobs, how our clients were going through that, and then how I personally was going through that as well, because I was trying to get back to work. Because when we're talking about goals and intentions, like there's goals and intentions we have for our family, right? And then between my husband and I for the things that we want to do. And I had been 7 years home, like stay-at-home mom, while doing Level Up Latina, while doing, the coaching and doing all the things that come with momhood. So in those 7 years, so since we had Maura, she's 2 now, but originally in a sense would have been back to work 2 years ago, right? Because that's when we had planned for it. But with Maura being another surprise in our in the child's kingdom, we were like, okay, well, I guess we can push this off another 2 years. Hence why a lot of our decisions were reflected on, like, why do we live in Compton? Because of this. These are the things that we are intentionally doing and mindfully doing because it was going to buy us the opportunity for me to stay home longer, right? So with that, it took me a year and a month to find a job, to find something that I actually wanted to do as well, something that I knew I wouldn't have too much of a hard time adjusting to, because I at least had some sort of familiarity to whatever I was going to be doing. So a year and a month back, I got a job offer. I accepted, and they were like, "Can you start in Thanksgiving?" I said, "No, let's push it back." So I started it in the brink of the winter. December 2nd. Here we go. New job, new Vero, and it's been an adjustment. So when it came to the New Year's, which was only a couple weeks later, I was like, "What's going to be something that we can focus on?" Really focus on it and not feel like we're not reaching whatever goal we want. So the intention was to keep things simple, right? So when it comes to couples, Otto and I decided that this year we're not going to buy anything. We're not buying anything. We're not going to go buy big stuff. We wanted to redo the kids' bedroom. We wanted to do all these other things. And we're like, no, you know what? This year is not going to be about buying shit. We're not going to buy anything. It might be small things that we might need, but no major big purchases. This year is pay off debt, right? Pay off any debt we might have and go from there. So 2025 will be focused on paying off debt, minimizing the things we have, because we have a ton of stuff. I believe that the more, how with women, the bigger the purse, the more shit you have in there. It's just nonstop. But with us, I feel like the bigger the house, the just more stuff we have.
Pero truer words were never spoken. The bigger the purse, the more bullshit you will carry. If I have a big purse, tengo chanclas.
Oh my God.
Tengo libros. It's my wallet's humongous. And then I purposely was no, a little bag. So I give a little, look at this little wallet, little tiny wallet. I just bought.
Oh God.
No, because sorry, Vero, you were going on a moment, but I was like, truer words were never spoken. And then you're going to get to the bigger the house, the bigger the junk.
And we have a pretty decent sized family now compared to modern times. You have 4 kids. We have a 6-person household. Dang, so it's big. So for us, it's let's stop buying shit. Okay, pay off debt, stop buying stuff. And the next thing is minimizing the stuff that we do have, right? So we're going to do that. That's the plan for the year. And then the next thing will be, for me, it's with having to work, I'm in office, it's not the ideal situation I wanted when it came to work, but it is a job that I'm enjoying. I really like it. I have a great, boss. My director is amazing. The GM has been, I've worked with before, and it's been great having them back and them understanding hey, we know you're coming back from being 7 years hiatus, starting a family and raising 4 kids. So they are being overly understanding, and it's kind of weirding me out, but I'm so thankful because llego a la oficina and I'm like, okay, what's next? And they're like, it's okay. We need you to focus on this, and that's it for now. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I could do more. And they're keeping me really just relax, lady. It's going to be okay. You don't have to kind of prove anything right now. Just ease in. So for me, I'm being a lot more, mindful in the sense of it doesn't have to be rushed. Just focus on the thing that's at hand at the moment, master it, and move on to the next thing. And I feel that sometimes we're I could do 10 things, just give it to me. And not that we cannot, but at the same time, we do need to learn how to slow down with the new things we're doing. For me, it's my focus. I remember I was telling you guys, I'm I kind of feel if I need to go back to school, because eventually, we talked about, me potentially going back to grad school, finally getting my MBA. But I think I have to put in some work before I could do that because my focus is minimal. So this year is a lot about me focusing on just keeping it simple across the board, being very graceful with how I, take things on, and being very mindful of not putting too much on my plate, because now I'm like, I feel that part of me wants to be like, well, I'm not home, so I should do more at home. Since I'm not here home like I used to. Like I was just running around like crazy. So then, yeah, I mean, it's going to be simple. That I think I had mentioned to you ladies a while back that I wanted to go back to church, at least to misa, and like kind of bring back that prayer in my life at church, like being in community and, praying, being consistent at least once a week with showing up to the Lord's house. And going from there. It's funny because the kids the other day were like, Mami, ¿por qué no vamos a la iglesia? ¿Por qué no vamos a misa? And I'm like, oh, rezamos, but we don't go to church. I'm like, no, mija, I get it. Like, would you guys like to go to church? Because we can try it out, So it's, for me, I'm like, I really want to do that. I was talking to Otto about it. And I'm like, hey, like this going back to church. And like, I feel that I reflected on those, years of my life, how there was this consistent refocus once a week on the things that I was grateful for and the things I was working towards, that it seemed very like piece of cake. Like things were like, life happened, but it wasn't happening to me. It was because I created it through all this effort, in the sense of just saying thank you to God and saying, I can do this. Thank you for giving me the strength, and moving forward. So I want that feeling again. I want to be able to do that and feel like just, that connection. I feel my connection to God is good. Now it's just like, okay, how can I improve this little part a little bit more? So my goals are really simple, is being, making sure I show up to work, making sure that I show up for my family. And I do want to focus on less screaming at my kids, like less yelling, and more like, okay, take a deep breath. What can I do now? So they're very simple, very cute things. So this year, like I said, minimizing on things, paying off debt. So you won't see me on many vacations. You won't see me on any big stuff, but there'll be some cute, small, like very intentional moments where it'll be centered around family and me. Yeah. That's pretty chill, huh, Ceci? Nothing exciting.
Very cool. No, it's exciting. Of course, it's exciting, just, seeing your growth, now that you're balancing it all, un poquito de todo. So it's very exciting, aunque sea poco a poquito, and it's still very exciting. And, what you think is manageable, I think that's, y sobre todo, like knowing that, lo que tú puedes, that's what you're intending for yourself. So, de todo un poquito, poco a poco, paso a pasito. For me, I mean, I guess I don't have huge goals or intentions. I think the biggest intention is just to slow down more. Slow down. And I want to use my agenda more in that sense, in that, it has sections for journaling. So I want to do more journaling. And it also has a section for you to create your vision board within the agenda. And I think I want to try that, because in the past, mind you, I haven't created a vision board in 5 years. But the one that I had it for the longest time by my desk, but I felt like I wasn't really looking at it. So then I put it in my closet next to where I get ready, but I never really look at it. So I'm like, okay, I look at this agenda every single day. So let's work on that. So I started a little bit yesterday. This agenda has a section where it tells you it says uncover your compass and your core values. So it lists all these values, and you're supposed to rank them. 1 being not important, 2 sometimes important, or 3 very important, and then from there narrow it down to 3. And narrowing it down to 3 was really hard, but I tried to, combine some of these cores, kind of group them together. So the 3 core values that I kind of came up with that were the most important to me were authenticity, commitment, and self-discipline. With authenticity, I just felt like being authentic in my career, with friends, and all, relationships as a wife, as a mom. When I'm authentic, I feel better. I don't feel like I'm not hiding the ball, that just makes me feel good, and I show up. And then committed to work, to my family, to my friends, like that's very important to me. And being self-disciplined, staying committed to something that I told myself that I was going to do, whether it be exercising, eating, showing up for this podcast, you know, all those things are very important to me. So those are the 3 things that I picked. So again, you know, journaling more, you know, and so I want to use this, maybe not daily, but, you know, at least once a week or so, pick it up, look at it more. Because I also created kind of like a roadmap to what my goals are for lifetime goals, 3 years down the line, 1 year down the line, and then within 3 months. And then from there to kind of pick what, like the one that would create the biggest impact, and the one that I want to have the biggest impact, or that I want to focus on more this year is, and for us together, basically all 3 of us, is like to monetize our podcast. Like I was like, okay, how do we get there? You know? So I started just, it said, give yourself 5 minutes. And I just started writing things and having kind of check-ins when we're either recording or having our meetings. Okay, what can we do? When do we want to accomplish that? And then, so anyway, so that's one of my bigger goals, I guess, this year, that I know it's going to take time. And so there's no deadline. It's just like, okay, this is kind of like the big one that I want to work on. Let's see, other things that I wrote down as part of this year is, for some reason, I'm like, I want to like practice my French. Because we, you know, here and there we like, you know, practice it on the podcast or whatever. So I found like easy French podcasts. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to those
cool,
like, on my runs or when I'm driving to work, you know.
Petit poisson.
Yeah, they're short.
Petit poisson.
Yes. Petit poisson. Je suis désolé.
Oh.
Je suis content. You know. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing here and there. What else? So similar to you, Vero, that I'm like, okay, this year we don't want to make huge expenses. We want to be frugal. We want to save money and, you know, to purchase a home. Maybe, I don't know about, maybe not this year, maybe in a year or two, but that's kind of like our bigger intention now that we're manifesting and putting out there. But in order for that to happen, we need to like really see our spending and save and all that. So also like no big vacations this year. Maybe Luis travels all the time for work, but that doesn't count. So I'm like, maybe I can tag along to one of yours, you know, again. So, ¿qué más? My home decor, getting little pieces here and there. I inherited and a lot of like dishes and ceramics from my mom. So I'm like putting like little things here and there. And, you know, that's what I used a lot of her stuff for around Christmas. So, como su nacimiento, like I inherited that. So I put up the nativity set. ¿Y qué más? Oh, and then as far as religion, we go to mass on Sundays, and in my case, it's more Luis, Irene, that like keeps us like, okay, tenemos que ir a misa, come on, let's be on time. It also helps that he's a lector on occasion, so that I'm like, we have to get out of the house at a certain time. But for me, I want to like pray the rosary more. Like I'll do it once in a blue moon or when we're on a long road trip, like me aviento un rosario. But I want to do it more often, maybe once a month, you know. So I told Luis, I'm like, hey, it's the New Year's is starting. Let's do a rosario. So we did it, I think on not on the 1st, but we did it on the 2nd. So like 2 days ago. And there's an app. There's a rosary app that I downloaded and I have. So, you know, the rosary changes. I get a little, you know, no me lo sé, but it changes depending on the day of the week. So I have it, mi Santo Rosario, whatever app. And so that's what I want to do more. Just be more in tune with my prayers and, you know, and all that. Y también with that, I've been looking for, I have my Virgen de Guadalupe, but I'm looking for like a little stand for it. You know, no he encontrado like the perfect one. Like I want to find something that's wooden, that looks very like como rústico, but I just haven't found something. I looked on Amazon, no me gustó ninguna de las que vi, so I'm kind of like looking around in las tiendas That's something that I want to get to this year. And then going back to being intentional, just being staying away from phones when I'm with family, when we're eating dinner, like putting the phone like far away, like in the room, para que no haya distracciones. So I'm like reminding Luis, like, hey, no phones at the table. Let's be more intentional about that. And you guys all know that I'm close to my cousins, and this year we haven't really seen much of each other, or at least during the holidays we didn't. Cada quien hizo stayed at home, did their own thing. So next Saturday we're having a tamalada. Like, we're gonna get together to make tamales, like as if we didn't have enough tamales already for the holidays. But we're like, let's do it. Let's just get together, maybe watch home videos from like when we were younger. So those are my intentions. Not too big, but también not too small, and just staying, I guess, focused on those, and un granito de arena each day or each week, whatever works and whatever is manageable at the time. So that's what I'm working on.
I love that, because I think that we each have like a different approach to this strategy. Like, you called them 3 core values, and then Vettel started with keeping it simple, and then I just called them goals, because like a lot of people, like my husband, just likes goal setting, so we just called them goals. So whatever you want to call it, number 1 is really good. However you want to frame it, whatever works for you. If you want to use a journal, if you want to use a partner, if you want to just have simple small goals, then you do. So I like that we each had a different perspective. So that's the tip of the day. Whatever your perspective, like if you need to come up with core values, if you need to come up with a 1-pager that keeps it simple, if you need to get your whole family together to think about it and have a visual, there's no right way. If you also don't want to start now, which was like the essence of this show, you don't have to start now. You can start when you're ready. I think the biggest thing also as part of the tip of the day is don't compare yourself to other people. You're all like at different parts and places and journeys. And I love Ceci saying, we may buy a house this year, we may buy a house next year. That was my goal 4 or 5 years ago, right? So my goal is different now, but at some point that started. So I think slow and steady, you said the little granito thing. Whatever your goal is, when it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I think as long as you don't lose sight of that goal. Don't lose sight of the thing that you've been wanting to do and making it happen. And one day it'll happen. And that's the best way to approach any of this. Is if it's a core goal, if it's a core value, if it's a simple 1-pager, whatever it is, I think as long as you don't lose sight of it, it's so critical. As long as you think about it a little bit every day or once a week, and however you're going to monitor that, because what you track grows and actually happens. And I truly, truly stand by that and believe that, because I never thought that I would be the kind of person that had like 0 credit card debt, paying my kids' college with cash, buying a house and then continuing to travel. My husband has a lifelong dream of wanting to go to Japan, and we're going to get to go in 2 weeks. And I know that this thing has been on his vision board for years. And I almost went without him last year. And it's the only time in my life that my husband was like, please don't go on that trip. And he never, ever, he doesn't care where I go with, how much it's my money to spend. Like, if it takes from the family and I'm living large and I'm in Greece or I'm in Thailand, vale. But he was like, don't go to Japan without me. And before the year was over, he's taking us to Japan. But I know this man has had this goal for years. So no se agüiten. If somebody has a huge, huge goal and you're like, how the heck am I going to do it? Un poquito. Do not let up. Un poquito. And your goal might be like retiring your parents. It might be buying your first house. It might be just going on a dream vacation. Like, you can do it un poquito cada día. But I get like the goosebumps thinking about all the things that I'm looking at in my life that I know were once just like on a vision board or a piece of paper, or like Ceci said, let's get together and have a core value session. My husband did this thing for us several years ago, which was like our creed. Like, we wrote this creed as a family, and we all look at it every day, and we all talk about, in that creed, we look at how we think about our faith. And I'm like, man, I'm raising good little Catholic kids. But I do remember not feeling totally like that like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Like, I don't know, but it happens. It literally, every little bit happens. So no guilt every single day. Be consistent and find your path, and just don't let up. Tip of the day times
I love that.
50.
I love that. Or get an accountability partner. Again, we've talked about it in the past. I messaged mine this morning because we haven't checked in a while, the holidays. And it almost felt like I was asking her to prom. I'm like, hey, Happy New Year. Do you want to be my accountability partner again? No me ha contestado. Well, I haven't checked, but I'm sure she will later. But anyway,
or they can get their ticket to our event.
I was just getting, yeah. Yeah. Or I was just going to say, speaking of accountability partners, we are having an event in February, not in January, por lo mismo that we want to kind of ease into the year and, get started in, next month. So if you're listening to this, we want to invite you to our workshop that we're having on Saturday, February the 8th. It is called Manifesting 101, How to Bring Your Boldest Visions to Life. It's happening via Zoom at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So again, Saturday, February the 8th. Head on over to our website, leveluplatina.com, and go into events and purchase your ticket there. If you need a little boost, if you need a little help as to how to manifest these things that you want for your life, this is going to be the perfect session for you. Vamos a estar las tres. All three of us will be there and hosting this live via Zoom. So don't forget, get your tickets early because I think we're gonna have limited space if I'm not mistaken, right, girls? Sí. Okay, so head on over. También, if you wanna, learn more about our one-on-one coaching, head on over to our website, book your session with any one of us three coaches. If you wanna keep the conversation going or have something that you want us to talk about on the podcast now that we're up and running again, send us an email at admin@leveluplatina.com or message us on our social media, our handles on Facebook and Instagram at Level Up Latina. So anything else, ladies, that you guys want to add before we wrap this this episode up?
And anything that's worth having, it's not going to be easy. So just how Irene said, keep it at it. Even if it takes you a year, 2 years, 3 years, you will get there. If it's something that your heart desires and it's something that you're focusing on, nothing worth having is easy, or it's going to be an easy route. So, it's the 2025. It wants to kind of be test us, but we're coming. And we're going to do it slow and steady, but we're going to get there.
The wheels, we're oiling the wheels, poco a poco. So that's a wrap. Happy New Year a todos nuestros listeners. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to level up.
Ciao.